Hi again. Welcome to MixedBag, where variety is the fun of life. Today, we're diving into a topic surrounded in lots of bureaucracy, conspiracy theories and government lies. That being data centers. What are they doing? What are they for? Are they secret hidey holes for the rich and elite? Are they UFOs hidden under layers of computing and processing capabilities? Or are they simply just another way of the governments of this world to work on their secret agendas while telling us all that it's all for the technology of the future or the AI robots of tomorrow? In essence, data centers allegedly emerged in the second half of the 20th century as businesses, governments, and research institutions began relying on large computer systems to store and process growing amounts of information. What started as dedicated rooms housing mainframe computers evolved into vast facilities filled with servers, networking equipment, and storage systems. Today, data centers form much of the backbone of the internet, cloud computing, online banking, streaming services, artificial intelligence, scientific research, and countless other digital systems that people use every day. Supposedly, supporters argue that data centers are necessary because modern society generates enormous volumes of data that must be stored, secured, and processed around the clock. As more services move online and AI systems require increasingly powerful computing resources, demand for large-scale computing infrastructure continues to grow. Critics, however, question whether the rapid expansion is truly essential, or whether it is partly driven by commercial incentives and competition among major technology companies. The environmental cost of data centers has become a growing concern. These facilities consume significant amounts of electricity and often require substantial water resources for cooling. While many operators are investing in renewable energy and more efficient technologies, critics argue that the overall energy demand continues to rise as larger facilities are built to support expanding digital services and AI workloads. Some observers also ask why companies continue constructing massive data centers when increasingly powerful and compact supercomputers exist. Industry experts generally respond that a single powerful machine cannot easily replace the distributed infrastructure needed to serve billions of users simultaneously across the globe. Others remain skeptical and suggest that economic interests, market dominance, government contracts, and the concentration of digital infrastructure may play a role in driving continued expansion. Some critics even speculate that powerful corporate and political elites benefit disproportionately from this growth. Although evidence for broad conspiracy claims remains limited, and such assertions are highly debated. For now, at least, in the end, you can believe whatever you want. But watch these clips first, and then make up your own mind in regard the ever-growing data center plague.
What you're seeing right now is why data centers are largely obsolete, and we're not going to need them.
I have something I want to run past you to get your comment on it. There's a guy who's invented a super small supercomputer. Have you heard about this? So this comes from StarMex. NVIDIA quietly dropped a $249 box that replaces your $200 a month OpenAI subscription with just $2 in electricity. It's called the Jetson Orin Nano Super. It's smaller than a wallet, runs at 25 watts. It does 70 trillion AI operations per second, runs Llama 3, Mistral, Gemma, and DeepSeek locally with no API fees and no data leaving your house. A developer running automations and coding assistance pays $200 a month to OpenAI. The same workload on this box costs $2 a month in electricity and breaks even in 10 weeks. So let me just show you. Here's a quick video.
Ladies and gentlemen, our brand new AI computer. Look at this. I think I might have cooked it a little bit too long. It shrunk. The little tiny Jetson Nano. This is a brand new Jetson Nano Super. Almost 70 trillion operations per second. 25 watts. And $249. It runs everything that the HGX does. Even runs large language models. And can't wait for all of you to try it. It's available everywhere.
Well, tell me, what is he talking about? And is that real? I guess it is. It's from NVIDIA. And will that replace? Well, sounds like super revolutionary too, right?
Yeah, what you're seeing right now is why data centers are largely obsolete, and we're not going to need them anymore, right?
Wow, it's just pouring out of that stack. When you see this much color on the screen like this, what does that tell you?
It's showing a heat signature, so we know that pollution is happening at this site.
This is Stargate, one of the largest AI data centers in the world. It's currently under construction in rural Texas. Stargate will eventually include 4 million square feet of buildings across 1,100 acres. That's larger than Central Park.
When we get a look at it, we'll get a real sense of the scale that is involved here. I mean, this is a massive, massive site.
It's estimated that by the year 2030, companies will have invested nearly $7 trillion in data center infrastructure in a race to dominate the AI market. But this race to build AI superiority is happening so fast, many are concerned that companies might be cutting corners or taking advantage of regulatory loopholes, especially when it comes to the electricity and water required to run these massive data centers. Your AI query likely pings a data center like this, full of millions of power-hungry processing chips running the chatbots, agents, and other tools that millions of people interact with every day. But to power those operations, data centers around the country are increasingly relying on their own custom-built gas power plants. The Stargate data center already has 62 diesel generators and 10 gas-powered turbines on site, with plans for 41 more. This will make it one of the largest fossil fuel power plants of any kind in Texas, and it's just to power this data center. Tech companies are projected to spend more than $800 billion on the infrastructure behind artificial intelligence in 2026. And in 2027, that number will exceed $1 trillion. That's on par with the entire US defense budget.
This data center sits in the middle of the ocean and runs entirely on wave power. It's being built by a startup called Pantalasa. Each unit is a massive floating orb that rises and falls with the waves, and that motion generates electricity to power the AI chips inside. It's basically like a floating watermill in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. By moving offshore, the system solves two huge problems at once. The ocean provides natural cooling, while the waves generate continuous power. The company just raised $140 million to make this happen, and the CEO claims this could become the cheapest energy source on the planet. Commercial deployment is expected to start in 2027. Is this the future of data centers?
These highly secure, often unmarked buildings store data for some of the world's biggest tech companies. They're the physical infrastructure that enable us to zoom into class, watch a TikTok, bank online, or ask ChatGPT a question. And in the next 5 years, consumers and businesses are expected to generate twice as much data as they did in the last 10. As users and companies demand more and more processing power and storage to fuel an ever more complex internet, existing data centers here are becoming overwhelmed, causing the industry to go into a frenzy to try to accommodate the explosive demand. Across the country, companies like Amazon, NVIDIA, and Google are quietly infiltrating communities to build out massive compounds filled with the next generation of supercomputers. And it's all to make these things do something. Fundamentally, data centers store data, process data, and move data. So storage. To store this 3D model of my nut, I could put it on this hard drive, or I could upload it to the cloud, which is basically just a hard drive in a data center somewhere with some more redundancy or backups in case one breaks. As for processing data, everything that happens on the internet that's not on your computer is being done in a data center. So if you search nuts on Google, a computer in a data center looks through billions of nut websites and pictures of nuts, tries to figure out which ones you want to see, and organizes them for you to find your favorite nuts.
That's not my nut.
Which is the last major thing data centers do. When all the processing is done, or you request a photo of a cashew, or you're on a FaceTime call with an almond, data centers with internet service providers disperse that information.
This factory in California is about to start shipping human robots straight to people's homes. It's run by 1X, and they just opened America's first vertically integrated humanoid robot factory. The 58,000 square foot facility in the Bay Area was built in just 3 months and aims to produce 10,000 of their Neo home robots in its first year. See, unlike competitors that rely heavily on foreign suppliers, 1X manufactures nearly every critical component in-house, including the motors, batteries, electronics, and tendons. And get this, they've already produced 17,000 of their custom motors, which power Neo's tendon-driven muscle system. Each robot runs on NVIDIA Jetson's Thor chip and is wrapped in a soft fabric exterior designed to be safe around people. Neo is available for pre-order at $20,000 and is built to fold laundry, tidy up, and eventually assist with elder care. That said, 1X is being very transparent about today's limits. For example, their factory tour video shows humans, not robots, doing most of the assembly. And Neo itself isn't fully autonomous. It can do basic tasks like opening doors and fetching items on its own, but for complex chores, a remote human operator at 1X has to pilot the robot through your home using its cameras. That data will then train Neo to do more on its own over time, but for the time being, they're not fully autonomous. China currently dominates global humanoid shipments, but with plans to scale to 100,000 units per year by 2027, 1X is on pace to be a serious global player. If you want to stay in the loop with the latest in AI and robotics, follow for more.
A company has partnered with NVIDIA to put a mini data center in your front yard. Solar panel and electrical startup company Span is offering what they call discounted utility rates for homeowners who are willing to host Span's RTX Pro 6000 servers, running on the homeowner's residential power and internet in their front yards. And they even say that it might host a cloud gaming node in your own yard. You won't have any control over it, but you can subscribe to cloud computing from just feet away and get basically nothing for it. This comes at a time when electricity costs are outpacing inflation alone, with an average 30% increase. These mini compute boxes are designed to be a distributed data center, and basically they're designed to pull any over-provisioned power from the home to then use for the compute box to process whatever tasks are dispatched to it from a cloud solution. So if you have a 200 amp capacity for your home and you use half of it, the other 100 amps minus whatever safety net they might have would go to the distributed compute box. And this comes at a time when energy prices are skyrocketing, and this will contribute to that. But Span says that it'll help pay for the energy costs that it's going to use, and that AI is forcing ever upward. They plan to install these in residential neighborhoods that are partnered with real estate companies that specialize in rental houses, like those built by the Pulte Group, and we think might even partner with HOAs to distribute the boxes that contain 16 RTX Pro 6000s, which cost close to $10,000 each, and 3 terabytes of DDR5 memory. Having just been the victims of a smash and grab to our rental car while in San Francisco, we can't help but wait and see what happens when the first tweakers break into these boxes. There's copper in them, their boxes. But the same AI data center is responsible for the rise in cost for RAM, SSDs, GPUs, and everything else, have now moved on to their next target, which is energy. The energy market is far more nuanced due to any one specific state's market regulation status, weather, climate, and capacity variables. But like those markets, recent price increases are largely driven by significant AI demand and not enough supply. But data centers claim that they still don't have enough energy.
We're limited by energy, but we got a lot of people working on that, and we had to not make energy a bottleneck for our country.
So the plan for this solution is apparently to distribute that load across wide residential areas. Now, in partnership with NVIDIA, Span is bringing its mini data center to your house. You don't get access specifically to its hardware, you just physically allow it to sit there. Using prices from Newegg and Nemix, we estimate the cost of only the 16 Pro 6000s and the 3 terabytes of DDR5 server RAM in each compute node to be around $246,000. That's a lot of copper. It'd be a shame if something happened to it because it's like a metal box and an angle grinder, $250,000 of stuff, or a form of protest, but they have a plan for that. And it's surveillance. Span is probably aware of this problem, and so go figure that the company partnered with the global surveillance enabler Palantir would also be putting surveillance systems in their compute boxes that go in the front yard of your own house. We have a lot of questions about this endeavor today, like, why? And, huh? Do I need to take out a separate insurance policy to cover the 16 12-volt high power connectors in a box sitting surrounded by pine needles next to my American home made out of paper and wood? Ultimately, we think the extent Span's going to in attempts to procure energy from any available sources, now including residential, highlights a much larger supply issue forming in the energy industry. And putting $250,000 of hardware, especially 3 terabytes of RAM, into a yard is a level of liability that's going to require an uncomfortable level of surveillance, we think, for Span to do it without needing to worry too much. But it also just continues to bleed the consumer dry financially and for silicon and the availability of it. As we get into this, we also have a call to our audience, which is, if you have one of these, or if you maybe rent a house and your greedy landlord decides to get one of these because it will reduce the power bill that you're probably ultimately paying for anyway, then let us know. Because they say they're working on installing 100 of these in Q3 as a test deployment. We want to film it and inspect it. I can make it anonymous. We can blur all kinds of stuff. We can just stay tight only on the box. Whatever we need to do to make sure that we could do it without getting you in trouble. But we'd really like to see one of these. And I'll even come with a gift of RAM for the inconvenience. But you can email tips@gamersaccess.net with information if you happen to see one. That also works, as they're testing them now on what we assume to be test homes. But there's a lot to talk about today with this distributed data center in residential neighborhoods concept.
It starts quietly. A machine stands in the dark, watching. You run, but it already knows where you are. The hunt has begun, and you are the prey. You think you can outrun it. You can't. Every step you take, it takes 2. No fatigue, no fear, no hesitation. Machines don't get tired. Humans do. Somewhere, a screen lights up with your face, your name, your location, your life. To them, you are not a person. You are a file, marked for collection. You raise your hands, you beg, but machines don't negotiate. They calculate. The laser locks on, the trigger pulls, and the outcome was decided before you even turned around. Strength means nothing here. Steel doesn't bleed. Servos don't tire. You fall, and a cold metal hand reaches down, not to help you up, but to take you away. No anger, no mercy, no emotion behind that visor. It looks at you the way you look at a number. To the machine, your fear is just data. The hatch opens. You're dragged towards something you can't see inside. No screaming saves you. No one is coming. This is where humans disappear, and something else comes out. You wake up in a cold room. Wires, screens, a machine watching over you. You are no longer a person being saved. You are a system being rewritten. Row after row, body after body, identical, silent, waiting. The line between human and machine fades behind blue glass, and somewhere in that row is you. You don't think anymore. You don't question. You stand in formation, eyes glowing, waiting for an order. The mind that used to be yours now belongs to something else.
When I've noticed my electric bill gone up, I started asking my neighbors, is your bill also going up? And they had no idea that this was happening.
If you live in any of these states, your electric bill is higher this summer. It's not because of anything you did. You're paying more because the world's biggest tech companies are building so many data centers.
I do guess that a lot of the world gets covered in data centers over time, but I don't know, because maybe we put them in space.
Is this something where we are committed to building out data centers across our 60 regions? We are absolutely going to.
Big tech's quest for artificial intelligence is creating a tidal wave of new costs that are about to hit all of us, even if you live nowhere near a data center.
The big problem is that we're all subsidizing the wealthiest corporations in the world in their pursuit of artificial intelligence.
Americans' utility bills are rising while big tech's profits are going through the roof.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen. This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah, and this is what's in all the pipes.
So that is the dark side of living near one of the 4,000 data centers in this country. Did you have any idea there were that many? A data center, which is essentially a giant warehouse with millions of servers, and every time you Google something, your device sends a signal to a data center, and in nanoseconds, your device gets a response back. But with demand growing for AI, demand's also growing for these data centers, which are absolutely enormous. One in Texas called Project Matador is as big as 15 Disneylands and uses as much power as the state of Colorado requires every year. It also uses over 1 billion gallons of water per year. And the public, as always, have been basically kept in the dark by companies like Meta and Amazon, who claim they're creating jobs.
Developers are running into problems trying to build data centers all across the country.
One developer has now canceled plans to build a data center in Nottingham, New Hampshire, because of widespread community opposition. And just yesterday, neighbors in Lowell filed a class action lawsuit against the Markley data center, claiming it's a nuisance to the community. As CBS's Jolene Kent shows us, some states are now taking their own action.
Nationwide, there's a growing backlash to data centers, those sprawling warehouse-like buildings housing computers and servers that power AI and the internet. And now some government leaders say they're taking action.
Today, I'm stepping up to establish clear guardrails for data centers in New Jersey.
In New Jersey on Wednesday, Governor Mikey Sherrill introduced a new plan that would require data centers to, quote, pay their own way, to contract directly with power generators and shell out for their own grid upgrades.
After a contentious hour-long meeting, Utah's sprawling hyperscale data center is still on track.
Okay, enough! From now on, I will tell you, you continue. I have law enforcement here who will remove you from the meeting.
The 3-member Box Elder County Commission voted unanimously to approve the massive campus. The commission's vote allows the Utah's Military Installation Development Authority to create the project area, where it can offer an array of incentives to Shark Tank celebrity investor Kevin O'Leary. The vote took place in front of a packed crowd at the Box Elder County Fairgrounds.
For hell's sakes, grow up!
After multiple disruptions, commissioners left the stage to finish the meeting virtually. Commissioner Tyler Vincent spoke about the rights of landowners on this issue.
We need to realize and remember that everybody has property rights and that they can do what they would like to do with their property.
Before the vote, attendees rallied in support of ending the project. Around 40,000 acres on 4 different plots of unincorporated Box Elder County have been set aside for the project. The majority of the land is privately owned and is north of the Great Salt Lake. Another 2 parcels are on the west side of the lake. Those sections are owned by the Department of Defense and the Utah Trust Lands Administration. MIDA projects must include military land, and state trust land must be included for the state to receive its share of its tax revenue.
One of the biggest deals, and I'm not exaggerating, in the history of the state of Utah.
That's MIDA's executive director, Paul Morris.
The first part is 3 gigawatts of power.
Estimates for the project say that the first phase will require 3 gigawatts of power, nearly matching Utah's average statewide electricity use of 4 gigawatts.
That will grow into 9 gigawatts of power.
State supporters said water from the lake used by the data center will be treated and sent to the drying Great Salt Lake, which will likely hit a new record low after Utah saw historically low snowpack and unseasonably warm spring temperatures this year. MIDA says the data center would use a closed-loop cooling system that continuously reused water. Since Thursday, the Utah Division of Water Rights has received over 400 protests over the water rights applications submitted for the project. HB 60, a new policy passed by state lawmakers this year, reins in the Division of Water Rights' ability to consider many of the issues raised in the protests and letters of concern. Under that law, the state engineer is not able to consider concerns handled by other state agencies like air quality, wildlife, and recreation. Commissioners did not hear public comment at the Monday meeting, saying that the public had been given the opportunity to comment at an April 22nd Box Elder County Commission meeting.
They didn't listen to us. They haven't listened to us. It was weak, and it was just really disappointing because these people that are in power, they really don't care what we want.
I have not been busted. I am not being paid by anyone or any foreign government to be here. I am here because I do not want this in my community.
Kason Graff and over 130 other people packed a Cedar City meeting room Thursday evening to comment and ask questions about another proposed Utah data center project. This project would be located about 40 miles west of Cedar City.
The question was not about who has the water rights. The question is when that water runs out, who's the one who pays the penalty first, second, and third?
So I don't know the answer to the question because I don't understand how all of the water legislation and regulations are run within the state of Utah. I can research it and come back, and I'll do that, and I'll try to have a better answer for you next time.
You wrote this. You wrote it.
The comments and questions throughout the evening were overwhelmingly opposed to the project. Residents asked questions and shared concerns about water, heat island effects, noise, air quality, and energy use. Bright Night's 2,600-acre project would include a natural gas power plant, battery energy storage system, and a data center, according to a conditional use permit proposal the company submitted to the Iron County Planning Department last week. The project is expected to need 1,900 acre-feet of water per year once the 1.5 gigawatt site is fully built. The entire state of Utah uses about 4 gigawatts. The Iron County Planning Commission is also considering the Antelope Data Center, a 640-acre project that includes on-site natural gas generation, and in northern Utah, Kevin O'Leary's hyperscale Stratos data center project continues to face fierce public opposition in Box Elder County.
Again, as always, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more future content. See you in the next one.
Whoopsie! Back, husband!
Subscribe for more future videos.